In 1907, then Mrs. Knapp passed away. Her son had passed away previous to her, and so her estate went to a brother and some other executors to deal with, and they sold a lot of the property in this area to the McLaughlin family. So the land has now changed hands to a different family, even though it's been in the hands of the Knapps for a long time. And in 1908, Clarence B. Moore visited the site. Again, just more records being created for different parts of archaeological record keeping in the U.S. So it's kind of neat to see. In 1934, forms were submitted to the National Park Service by J.R. Fordyce, Warren K. Moorhead, John R. Swanton, and Samuel C. Dellinger, who's with the University of Arkansas Museum, to purchase the site and make it into a national park. So these were submitted, like I said, to the National Park Service. The hope from these people in Arkansas is that this is a very important site, a very important place that should be preserved, and they wanted the National Park Service to do that. That did not happen. It did get into some committees and things like that, but it never actually became a park. So that was kind of left then. At that point, it's still in the hands of private property owners. They're still farming on it. And then in 1960, Charles McGimsey and Hester Davis, who are then at the University of Arkansas Museum after Dellinger's retirement, established the Arkansas Archeological Society, and as part of that, they started training amateur archaeologists in how to do site forms, how to do record keeping, things like that. And one of the very early site forms that they got was for the Toltec Mounds site, now the Plum Bayou Mounds site, submitted by Wallace Wills in 1960. And he was a local and wanted the site recorded. He had a lot of the kind of lore associated with the site in that original site form. So even though the site has been known about for a long time, we've already talked about that, the official first site form is in 1960. So then in 1966, McGimsey and Davis are looking for more training opportunities, looking for more research opportunities, and they create the training program in archaeology, which we still do to this day, which is why we're making this video, because we are leading up to another training program. But in 1966, they do the training program at what is now Plum Bayou Mounds Archaeological State Park. They bring in volunteers to do this research so that they can prove what kind of an important site this is, and that it should be some kind of special place, some kind of nationally recognized place or state recognized place to make this more protected. And so in 1973, they do manage to get the site listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which is important. It gives it some kind of legitimacy in the federal system that this is a very important site and that people recognize that it's an important site. And then in 1975, most of the property that is now the site gets sold by the McLaughlin family and some other farm owners or landowners in the area to the Arkansas Department of State Parks. And that's not what it was called at the time, but essentially that is when the land becomes state property and the parks, the Arkansas State Park starts to take it over and run it and plan for it and see how we can open it to the public. So then in 1977, we get permission for the Arkansas Archeological Survey to have a research station at this site, at this state park, which is very cool. So we can start doing even more archaeological research and really learn more and more about what's going on at this site. In 1978, the site is listed on the National Historic Landmark list, which is kind of a step above the National Register. You have to be even more important. There are even fewer of those sites listed across the country. And then in 1980, the park officially opens to the public with an archaeological research station there, and it has been open to the public ever since then. And so that's kind of the really quick run through of what is going on with the property that is now the site, and then we will get into kind of the actual archaeology starting in the next video. But I thought I didn't want to just skip it completely because it is pretty interesting information. So if you do have the book yourself. Like I said, it's available to purchase. It's kind of wild to read through it. You feel like you're just reading dates and dates and names and names. Like someone went through, well, Martha and others have gone through property records essentially just to see what little sections of different parts people owned at different times. So it's kind of neat to look at. And actually I saw some other names in there too that I thought was really interesting, people maybe who still live in the area and things like that. So it was cool to look at. It was cool to read that chapter. And so we'll be diving into the actual archaeology that's been happening out there for the past 60 years next week. Thank you for watching. I will see you again in a couple of weeks with another video. And then, like I said, hopefully I'm going to be seeing you in June. I think registration should be opening pretty soon for the training program. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you're following the Arkansas Archaeological Society's website and social media so you'll see when those open up. And take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.